God, that last video drained me so much. How about a video where I rack my brain around a paradox in the Warhammer setting?
You're going to go from giving yourself a headache about a book to giving yourself a headache about my reality.
Yes I am.
David, can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, sure, if you'd like. Should I be worried about you asking me that question alone?
Honestly, probably, but the question I want to ask is rather simple. Are you a masochist?
Do you know what that word means?
David, he's Dark Eldar. That's probably the first word he learned to say.
I'm not Drukari anymore, but I did learn that word at a young age, yeah. I know what a masochist is. Someone who finds pleasure from being in pain.
Well, I'm not one. I'm just used to pain and know how to get people to watch videos, so let's talk about the World Eaters paradox.
The World Eaters paradox? The fuck is that?
Well, remember what we were talking about with the best of the worst video last week?
Karn the Betrayer, yeah.
We also talked about Angron, and that's where the paradox is. First, let's talk about Angron's lost Primarch powers. On the world of New Syria, there was a tradition for gladiators, of which Angron was one. When they fought, they would slice into themselves, and if they won the fight, they would allow the cut to heal and scar normally. If they lost, they'd rub dirt into the wound and it would heal black. Angron was said to have no black marks on his body. He was an exceptional fighter, often said to be undefeatable by anyone. Even Korax believed nobody could beat him in a fight except maybe Horus and Sanguinius. Leman Russ was assumed to be equal to Angron, but the autistic Rogel Dorn believed himself better. But Dorn believed himself better than everyone, so... But the Primarchs only knew the nailed Angron. I regret that phrasing, but whatever. Before the nails were put into Angron, he had psychic powers, one to feel pain that others felt, and be able to take it away from them. Unfortunately, in his taking of pain, he felt their pain. His whole thing was empathy and sacrifice. His power was meant to keep soldiers running, and his legion, well, that's a bit odd in context. The 12th Legion was originally called the Warhounds. They were one of the few legions that didn't have a specific region of Earth or Terra that called it they recruited from, but instead were most aggressive from every other legion sent to join these Warhounds. Now, these Warhounds were originally made of Thunder Warriors, but after the Unification Wars, they were replaced with the early Adeptus Astartes. These early Astartes were formed using pseudogenes of the Primarchs built for them. Now, if Angron was made for this legion, why is the Healer Psyker Primarch made for the most aggressive legions? I don't even know if the legion has any Psykers because the legion doesn't use Psyker combat, and they never did. If the legion had a history of Psykers that could feel pain of others, then I could see Angron being made for this legion, or the legion made for him, rather. But in the context of the setting, Angron, a Psyker who was made to feel the pain of others, was given the legion who made others hurt the most. What sense does that make? It's a paradox that's not brought up a lot, and it's something I'm trying to think on. Now, looking over the World Eaters 40k units, I want to point out that their current World Eaters don't even know that their Legion's armor was supposed to be white, not red. So they're not someone to look at. Especially modern ones, which are more Cornite than they should have been designed as. So, what about the 30k World Eaters? Let's see if they have anyone with any sort of psychic abilities. Looks like none. They do have 2 unique units though, excluding Karn the Bloody, but they got an apothecary with rage and a boner for cutting guys open, and an honorable warrior who wanted the Legion to have martial chivalry. I'm pretty sure Karn is the only named character still alive, except for Angron. In fact, does Angron still have his psychic powers? He is a psychic entity now, so let's see. Nope! No psyker. Keyword, no psychic powers. Even his Primarch aura is not a psychic power, so did they have any psykers in their past? Well, there's none I can find. Of course, this sounds like a plot hole in Black Library, right? Well, it's too bad they brought it up in the 90s. Apparently, when writing out the 60 plus and growing Horus Heresy era novels, it's found out that many believe that the gene seed used to make the World Eaters was actually corrupted out the front gate before the Legion even became Astartes. Now, is this possible? Yes, very likely. In fact, I'd like to point out that sometimes gene seeds unlock psychic powers, like with Typhus in the Death Guard. Some in the setting say that the introduction of the Butcher's Nails is what caused them their problems, but I want to point out that they were nothing like their Primarch in any way, shape, or form in any version pre or post Nails. And keep in mind, this is an assumption that it was intentionally written that their gene seed were fucked out the get-go. But I'll be honest, I think that was written in one of the books as an excuse, because they wrote in another book that Angron was supposed to be a Psyker Primarch that was meant to heal allies. I mean, we know that Games Workshop has a bit of a history of having one part of the company having absolutely zero idea what the other part of the company is doing. It's possible that the original crew making the models and the new crew making the lore didn't really talk. Hell, the current Black Library crew really doesn't talk to the model section of the company, but they do take orders from, really, bidding with each other to write certain books. Honestly, the problem is likely an oversight issue, but it's still a paradox that I don't hear enough about. Can I ask y'all to share this around, because I want to know other people's takes on it. Genuinely, if the issue was resolved, like the Warhounds were originally a Doctor Legion, it wouldn't change where they would go. They'd likely still have put the Butcher Nails in their heads to try and connect with their Primarch. They'd still fall to Khorne because of that, and they'd still be the World Eaters Legion. But the story and the design makes no sense to me, so shove off.